I mean, I have to say, because of the way that Caesar came into the world and was brought up by human beings, for me it was always, he was an outsider. He was always an outsider. There was a sense of not knowing who he was. He was brought up by a human being and believed himself in many ways to be a human being, had many human attributes, learnt human belief systems through his father, who was James Franco's character Will, who he believed to be a good man. And so although I'll never forget reading the script for the first time and seeing the trajectory of that character, the arc of that character, and thinking, what an amazing character, and then realizing, of course, and it's an ape, and take that away, and you'd still have an amazing character who's going on a phenomenal journey. But here was this creature who was going through, and what I think people responded to were all these recognizable human emotions and feelings of being an outsider or being rejected or being, and then finding his people, and so now going through into this next stage, it's very much about Caesar having become leader and how and not throwing away everything that he has grown up with as a human being. And so in a sense, he's both finding his inner ape by galvanizing this group of orangutans and chimps and gorillas, 2,000 strong, but also trying to evaluate on a daily basis and not become an absolute leader, but be open and empathetic. And how can I respond to this situation that needs attending to? He's also a father now. He's got a teenage son. He's also now got an infant child. He has a wife. He has a council. He has a very, very big community that he's responsible for in their survival. And then he has the choice in reaction to human beings who he adores in a sense, and still deep down wants to be able to communicate with, and so for me it's been, and then on top of that, how to communicate that. And one of the things that were the things of last time round was one of the beauties of it that Matt alluded to was the fact that they didn't speak. So it's a very pure, innocent way of experiencing what their thoughts and feelings were, the apes in the last movie. This time round, there is an evolution. There is an evolution in linguistic terms, and finding that has been one of the biggest challenges. How Caesar is, spiritually, philosophically, how he is as how he commands, how he responds on a personal level. So we worked very, very in great detail in terms of creating that level of sophistication versus finding language. So he communicates through the sign language, the American Sign Language that he was taught, which has become a way of creating, a unifying way of speaking with the other apes. Then also human words that he's beginning to be able to use, and then all of the other apes too are dealing with learning, to use just gesture and ape vocalizations. And of course, the younger apes who are growing up in this society are learning to speak, better than and faster than their parents, because that's what happens. So it's a very, it's a very rich and complex world, I think, that Caesar exists in, and is pressured and is hugely under pressure as the movie goes on with.
It feels good, I mean, 4 months in, it hurts, It's been I think we've all put ourselves really out in this film, and it feels really nice, I mean, I've known Dylan Clark, and who gave me a call one day. I remember I was driving, I pulled over, and he said, "Look, like you take a look at Planet of the Apes," and I thought, "Oh, yeah." In a funny kind of way, I play, a different mirror to Caesar, I guess. I mean, there's many ways to talk about that, I play Malcolm, who was an architect, who has a son who lost a wife, who, now has a new partner, who is trying to, find a way for his family to stay alive. And then that broadens to finding a way to his family will only stay alive if his community stays alive. So he assumes a role in that. And then, through the story, in a very funny way, I guess he finds his inner ape as well. Through the 10 years that we've had this apocalypse and this virus and everything, this civil, war and everything else that's gone on, that he's lost a lot, and he finds a lot back through his interaction out in the woods. If that makes sense, without giving away plot.
It does make some sense. Thank you.
Can you talk a bit more about, whether there was any hesitation for you, or this was the role you really wanted?
No, there was no. There was a correlation. I mean, the film I'd done Zero Dark 30, and I'd worked with a guy called Greg Shapiro, who I trusted a lot. And after the phone call with Dylan, I spoke to Greg, and he just said, "Who's the director?" And I said, "Matt Reeves." And he said, "Do it." And at that point, I knew Matt's films, and there was no question about it. Really, I mean, I loved that. I hadn't read at that point. I'm thinking, "My Charlton Heston, great," But it's deep within our psychology. As a kid, I was a bit more disturbing for me. I was very disturbed by it when I was younger. But so there's that level of, you watch the film again and you go, I really like this. I really like what this is doing. I want to be part of this on a number of levels. And then there's the part as an actor, where you go, it's great that Fox and Dylan and Matt and Andy, who have done all this work and are putting a lot of money and effort and into something they love, want you to be part of that. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, thanks.